I am in the Badlands, one of my dreams, and it is just absolutely stunning. I mean, take a look at these. That's just incredible. So the Badlands are in South Dakota, and I'm overlooking something called the Oasis, and what a beautiful planet we have.
Hello, welcome to An Accidental Vagabond, where we explore the mosaic of our unexpected journeys. This is Road Trip USA Round 2, and if you are interested in seeing any of the other videos, check the links in the description below. Like, subscribe, and comment for more content.
Ever since I was a kid, and I saw the movie poster for Terrence Malick's The Badlands, I have wanted to go to the Badlands. Never mind that I never saw the movie, and I still haven't seen the movie, although it is on my list of must-sees. After all, it is a Terrence Malick film. The movie and the story don't even take place in the Badlands, nor was it shot there. Still, for some reason, that dreamlike movie poster of Martin Sheen with his rifle over his shoulder as he stares off into the sunset cemented in my mind some fantastic desire to see this place called the Badlands. I put it up there in my bucket list of places to see, like the pyramids of Giza, the terracotta warriors of Xi'an, and the Parthenon of Greece. What is this mysterious place with its dangerous name? Badlands. It's really beautiful. And we're only at the very beginning of the park. Honestly, I probably won't get a lot of footage because I just wanna enjoy it and not think about taking pictures. The Lakota called the place the Makoshicha, and the French trappers called it Les Mauvais Terrains à Traverser. Both mean Badlands. Why such a dark and foreboding name? It's easy to see once you step foot in the park, in any season, that this is a place where you could easily die from the elements, the landscape, or the fauna. Nowadays, we drive through this park on paved roads and air-conditioned cars, but people of the past came on foot, by mule or horse, or by caravan. Coming to South Dakota's Badlands brings the same feeling as visiting Moab in Utah or Idaho's Crater of the Moon. Is this Earth? Or are we on Mars? In order to understand this place, we have to go back 75 million years, to a time when what we now call the Great Plains was once a vast, shallow sea. It stretched from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico and from the edges of western Iowa to western Wyoming. This was the late Cretaceous period. The poles held little to no ice, and much of the land was gathered together in a supercontinent that today we call Pangaea. Water dominated the earth then, and it was full of life. Over time, as the continental plates began to shift, almost imperceptibly, the soft land under the sea was pushed upward to form mountains. That life was left behind in the sediment as fossils that still draw people here today. At first, the land was wet and it's subtropical, and then with dense forests covering it for millions of years until the climate cooled and dried, and then came the savanna, then the grasslands, and then what you can see today. And what you can see today is amazing. For example, when the light changes, the land takes on a kind of quiet color, a soft range of reds and yellows and grays, shaped by everything that came before. And even in a place like this, hard, rough, and exposed, people came to live and hunt here. The first people to live on this land were nomadic mammoth hunters, with no known name that I could find to call them. They moved across this place long before it even had a name. Now, the first known tribe to hunt and live in the Badlands were the Araucarians. Generations later, the Dakota came to live and hunt here as well until the French trappers and then the settlers arrived, trying to dominate the land, but it was, and in many ways still is, indomitable. It's hot out, but there's a cool wind, which is nice. Just walking through the prairies. Didn't see a prairie dog. Was hoping for a prairie dog, but from reading the sign, all of this yellow I think is invasive. It's non-native, and it's actually causing some damage. So I'm not really sure what this would look like without the yellow. I mean, the yellow is really pretty, but yellow, sweet yellow clover, and purple thistles, I think, is what the sign said. Today, this land is divided into what we now know as Badlands National Park. The park is divided into 3 units: the North Unit, Stronghold, and Palmer Creek. The Pine Ridge Reservation also lies within the Badlands. Stronghold and Palmer Creek are managed through a cooperative agreement between the Oglala, Dakota, and the National Park Service. The North Unit is the most well-known and the most visited, and that's the area that we visited on our trip. So, for example, you're looking at the Yellow Mounds. This is in the North Unit, and it's not even that very far into the park. We really barely touched the park. I would say that if the park was a quarter, we saw a penny of it. The entire park seems unreal. The Yellow Mounds stand out right away. You can't miss them. They're this beautiful yellow and gold and burgundy, and the colors are so deepened by the bits of green grass at their base. And what's also striking is the way the light changes everything. And clouds, they pass overhead. Their shadows stretch long and dark across the formations, almost blue-black, like specters moving over the ridges and down into the basins. It just shifts the landscape from one moment to next. My video does not do it justice. You really have to see it for yourself. Looking around, you wouldn't expect, in a place with such harsh conditions and little water or vegetation, that there would be a lot of life here. but there are a good number of animals living in the Badlands. The first animal that I saw was a rabbit, which is not really unexpected, and birds, of course. But then soon after, when we were walking around on the trails, we saw goats, many goats, and they were balancing on the edges of the rocks. Most of them were sleeping. I think I came there at nap time, and they had these big round bellies that were resting on the stone, and their legs were all dangling over the edge. It was really cute. But where we saw the most animals was up in the Sage Creek Wilderness area, which you're looking at right now. There were deer, prairie dogs, and the pronghorn, which is kind of like a deer or an antelope. I've never seen one of these before. And they were just staring at us as we drove by, and their horns curve inward, almost touching like the shape of a heart. Very beautiful, very majestic. And of course the comical prairie dogs. But the piece de resistance was the bison.
It's our first bison.
Now, we are heading to Yellowstone soon after this trip, and we expected to see bison in Yellowstone, but neither of us had expected to see them here in the Badlands. I mean, at least not when we initially planned to come through the Badlands. So we were really excited to know that they were here. And honestly, I didn't have a sense of their size before actually seeing one. It's just, I had imagined that a bison was big. I knew it was big, like something between a horse and something larger. But when you see one in front of you, it's different. The weight of it, those heavy, long-haired faces, it's something you don't quite understand until you're standing there, or in our case, you're sitting in a car, driving slowly past one, and you're just in awe. I mean, these beautiful, huge, wizened, hairy faces. You can see why they would be honored. They were beautiful and stunning and huge. And it was the first time either one of us had seen one.
They're all hairy on the bottom, like soft skin on the bottom.
Now I can check off bison.
Hey there, dude. Little prairie dog. What were your favorite things?
If you've been watching my previous videos, you'll know we came from Minnesota and we headed west on I-90, and once we passed through Dakota, we realized we needed food. And the closest place to our campsite was Kyle on the Pine Ridge Reservation. So we turned south onto Highway 73, then west again on Highway 44 to get there. And after picking up some groceries, we headed north on Highway 44 toward the White River KOA. Now the campsite, this particular campsite, rests right near the interior entrance of the north part of the unit. What you're looking at here is Quinn, South Dakota, which we kind of accidentally ended up in on our way back to the KOA. So this is our little cabin at the KOA in the Badlands. It's KOA Badlands White River. And we're at cabin 89. It's very similar to the cabin we had in Pennsylvania, except for it has this fire pit right here. And I think it's bigger than the KOA in Vermont. Here's this nice, I guess it doesn't really look like a trail. They call it a trail, but you can walk behind the cabins here. And just beyond these trees is the river. Oh. And there happens to be a trail right here. I'm just gonna, go back. Maybe it's a trail. Maybe it isn't a trail, but the river is there. You'll have to follow a person who's a lot more brave than I am. I saw some bats last night. That was cool. I do like bats. Except when they're flying at my face. It's a big KOA. After we made dinner and ate dinner, we headed back out into the park to watch the sunset. It was 4th of July when we arrived, and it was a very quiet 4th of July, and the only fireworks that we got to see was the sun setting, and it was absolutely perfect. Thanks for coming along with us on this journey. I hope you liked the images, and I hope that someday you get a chance to go to the Badlands yourself. Bye-bye.